my arms and legs mutilated, it could mean I die by way of crucifixion or possibly just exile from my indigenous homeland. Is that tolerance in motion, I ask you? Is that peaceful? Does this mean I'm allowed to form an opinion about Islam and criticise it without fear of retribution? Of course it doesn't. Just take the Muhammad cartoons as an example of Islamic tolerance and peace. The rioting, the damage, the deaths all over the world. Islam doesn't mean peace, as some people are led to believe. Islam literally translated means submission, surrender. I'm not going to submit to that ideology or surrender. Not now, not ever. Israel is on the front line of Islamist aggression. Israel is a small country, landmass-wise. The only country in the Middle East that has functioning democracy. It is a democracy surrounded by supremacist Arab dictatorships who want to wipe it off the face of this earth. Passages from the Quran that I have just read you out legitimise a train of thought that is instilled in Muslim minds from a very early age. Who can remember a Palestinian state television interview where a toddler was asked what she thought of Jews? I can remember it very well. The little girl replied, "Jews are apes and pigs." The interviewer asked where she had heard that from, and the little girl replied, "The Quran." Let us never forget the level of indoctrination forced upon such young children who are taught to hate Jews from the very offset. Perhaps Palestinians should teach their children to love instead, then they may stand a chance for peace. Israel is the national home of the Jewish people. Many other religions live there happily, including more than 1 million Israeli Arabs, both Muslim and Christian. The country is not a religious state like Iran or Saudi Arabia. It is run by a secular democratic government that includes many religions and many non-religious people. You won't have your Bible confiscated at the airport and shredded like in Saudi Arabia. Before the formation of Israel in 1948, Jews were persecuted and terrorised by Muslim extremists and Muslims throughout the Arab world. People always think of the Jewish diaspora from Europe and Russia, but there was also a diaspora from the Middle East. Jews fled from their Muslim hosts because they were being persecuted, even though their ancestors lived in those parts long before Islam came along. Jews were being systematically killed and abused long before the State of Israel was founded. Yet we are led to believe that this is a recent phenomenon. Believe me, it is not. I can tell you now, it's nothing new. This has been going on for quite some time. To blame the creation of the State of Israel for the troubles and the hostility towards Jews is just a smokescreen. The hatred, the intolerance and the justification for murder can be found in Islamic texts, and I only read out a few passages of the Quran to you. Since the creation of Israel, and long before the so-called occupation of land won back in the defensive battles of 1967, Israelis have faced torrents of murderous Islamic terrorism. Israelis of today live under constant mortal threat that no other nation in the world has ever faced. Every home built in Israel today has a bomb shelter. In 2008, when Israel decided after years to take action to stop a rain of rockets on its southern civilians from Gaza, Hamas set up its control centre in the basement of the main hospital in Gaza, which of course was built for them by Israel. Hamas, by the way, are a proscribed terrorist organisation. You see Muslims marching through our capital city chanting "Bomb, bomb Israel" on Al-Quds Day. Hamas leaders have been quoted as saying, "Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as it obliterated others before it." Hamas has a slogan too, and it's found in the Article 8 of their charter. Allah is the target, the Prophet is its model, the Quran is its constitution, Jihad is its path, and death for the sake of Allah is the loftiest of its wishes. But it gets worse. It's about instilling a religious fight, as stated in Article 15 of the Hamas Charter. It is necessary to instill the spirit of jihad, holy war, in the heart of the nation so that they would confront the enemies and join the ranks of the fighters. It is necessary that scientists, educators and teachers, information and media people, as well as the educated masses, especially the youth and the sheikhs of Islamic movements, should take part in the operation of awakening the masses. It is necessary to instill in the minds of the Muslim generations that the Palestinian problem is a religious problem and should be dealt with on this basis. Again, I'm highlighting the religious introduction of Palestinian Muslims, and this is also highlighted in yet more Islamic scripture. This scripture is propagated by Islamists the world over. The day of judgment will not come until Muslims fight the Jews, killing the Jews, when the Jew will hide behind stones and trees, and the stones and trees will say, "O Muslims, O Abdullah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him." Now you tell me, how the hell do we reason with those who believe in this intolerant, murderous rhetoric? We can't and we won't. Did you know there has never been a country called Palestine? Palestine is a name invented by Romans based on the name of the Philistines, who were sea people mostly from Crete, who had also invaded Israel before the Romans arrived. They certainly were not Arabs, so why Palestinians tried to reinvent history to legitimise their cause is a matter for them to explain. Palestinians, Philistines, are one and the same according to them. We know different. In fact, other Arabs know this is true. Let me quote you an example, and I quote Syrian President Hafez Assad to PLO leader Yasser Arafat. Never forget this one point. There is no such thing as a Palestinian people. There is no Palestinian entity. There is only Syria. Yes, even other Arab leaders know the lies about a Palestinian people. And to further compound this fact, in 1977, Nahem Moshin, PLO Executive Council member, said, "It is only for tactical reasons that we carefully stress our Palestinian identity, for it is in the national interest of the Arabs to encourage a separate Palestinian identity to counter Zionism. The founding of a Palestinian state is a new tool in the ongoing battle against Israel." When you look at all these fascist quotations I have given you from the mouths of Islamists who want to implement Allah's laws worldwide, when I quote the fascist Islamic text, is it any wonder Hitler had a Grand Mufti who helped him with the genocide of the Jews worldwide? An Islamic supporter who even visited Hitler's Muslim Nazi soldiers to give his blessing in the name of Allah. Fascism must attract fascism, no matter what form it takes. As far as I can tell, Islamism and Nazism are just opposite sides of the same coin. Anyway, I would just like to say and thank Rabbi Shifron for coming all the way over to England here today. Big up Rabbi Shifron. Coming here today to support us and our cause. It's a terribly sad statement, but it's true. When we have to bring from other countries great men, politicians, to fight England's corner against Islamist extremism in this country, because our own politicians, born and bred in this country, that are running this country, haven't got the spine, the backbone, to take on the problem. Well, if they're not prepared to do it, then we, as the English Defence League, we will. It's an absolute honour and a privilege to be standing here today with such a great man, an ambassador for his country and his people and the Tea Party movement, such as Rabbi Shifron. On this note, I'll just finish off. God bless Tommy Robinson, our great leader. God bless our British Armed Forces and bring them back safely to us unharmed. God save our Queen. God bless Israel. English Defence League. Thank you very much, Kevin. Been right, I want to bounce before I introduce next speaker. Installing the website as usual, got the porn out of the way. And I can't decide actually if this is a wind-up or not, but I'm going to have to look into it. The Bedfordshire Constabulary have took it upon themselves to inform
the Muslim elders, before they raid a Muslim house or a mosque or anything like that, they are going to inform the elders first, or the day before or something, so nobody gets offended. Can you imagine what would happen if I rang up the local constabulary and says, would you mind giving the leaders of the local crack house 12 hours notice before we raid it, please? What do you think the response would be? Exactly, and we're dealing with Islamics, we're dealing with people who want to bomb us. They want to kill us, they want to kill us from within. So, as we all know about the thing with the cameras in Birmingham, when is this government going to realise that the only viable threat to this country and its people comes from an Islamic source? And it's time somebody kept an eye on them. Okay, on to the next speaker. Okay? Can I please introduce to you Roberta? Thank you.
Good afternoon. I wanted to say, first of all, we have a tribute to Tommy here because he personally done a lot of the placards that you see today with his own money. So we are not taking any funding from anybody. Everything we're doing here is with our own money. So let people know this. Imagine what we can do when we get some funding. But the EDL supports Israel. And the reason why EDL supports Israel is because they know that Israel is facing this jihad on the front line. If Israel falls, we all fall. And this is the truth and this is a fact. We have in Israel, every single day, we put up with abuse, we put up with missiles, and there's not one day that we have peace in our country. We want peace. We don't want terror. We don't want war. But this war is just placed upon us, and we have no choice but fight. And this is going to happen here in England too. We must fight back. We will fight back. Now the importance, let me bring to your attention the importance of fighting Sharia law. Sharia law is very dangerous also, for everybody, men and women. The problem with Sharia law is that there's a lot of courts in England already, 100 courts operating Sharia. And they are doing this without the knowledge of the government. Maybe the government knows about it, but they're turning a blind eye. And we know this because we have spoken to the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Justice, and they keep denying that there is Sharia law. They keep saying that Sharia is just an arbitration council, but this is wrong, this is a lie. The Sharia courts in here, they are superseding the British law, and we cannot let that happen. We have witnesses, and we have Muslim women that have gone to Sharia court trying to divorce, and they have been refused this divorce. And what happens is, the people in the Sharia law court, they send them back home to be abused even more by their husbands. We can't let that happen. We just can't let that happen. Okay? The EDL is not against Muslims. We are not against Muslims. If you're Muslims here listening to us, we are not against you. Okay? We like you. We want you to live under British law. You came to this country, and you have to assimilate in this country, not segregate. So this is a message for you. Don't think we are against you because we are not. We like you, we want you to stay here. But you will assimilate and you will live under British law. Sharia law is dangerous, and I'll tell you why as well. They want to kill homosexuals. They want to kill homosexuals. This is the punishment for homosexuality under Sharia law in Islamic countries. Also, they say it's okay to marry a child of 1 year old.